Hello everyone, I'm Naomi. Today I will give a presentation on Solinteg hybrid inverter 3-phase MHT4-20K. This presentation includes the following 6 parts: advantages, appearance, key parameters, work modes, application scenarios, and the last part, compatible batteries. Okay, let's come to the first part, advantages. Here you see is the front photo of the products. According to the different charging and discharging current, this series can be divided into 2 parts. The first part is 4 to 12 kW-25. That means the charging and discharging current is 25. The second part is 10 to 20 kW-40. That means the charging and discharging current is 40 ampere. And it covers a wide range of 3-phase products, which gives customer more choice when they choose the suitable product. Max charging and discharging current of this series is 14 ampere, so it can fully charge a battery in short time and have a large discharging power. Thus, it can connect the larger load on the backup side. And this inverter is designed with multifunctional OLED display, so you can check the data and do the basic configurations through the. You don't need to use your phone. Very easy to operation and do the setting. This series supports 110% continuous AC overloading. That means 10 kW inverter can output 11 kW continuously, and up to 1.5 times DC and AC ratio. That means 10 kW inverter. The max input power is 15 kW. So more PV power can connect to the inverter to support the loads and charge the battery at the same time. The inverter has plug-and-play terminals. When you do the installation and do the cable connection, you don't need to open the inverter. You just need to plug and play the terminal. Very easy and quick. The next point is really important. The inverter supports 110% phase unbalanced output. This point we will talk about it in the following pages. This series is in advanced heat dissipation, which can ensure the long life of the internal components. Also, we will talk about it in the following pages. Next point, up to 200% backup overloading for 60 seconds. For some loads, when I start, current or the power is very large, so it needs the inverter to have the short time, the greater backup power. So this feature lets the inverter to support the big loads connection. For the on and off grid switching time, it is 10 milliseconds. The UPS level to ensuring the energy security for critical loads. For every PV input, the max current is 50 ampere. So it can compatible with the most big current PV panels in the market. The last point, this series supports max 10 units paralleling connection. So you can extend the system from 20 kW to 200 kW, suitable for the residential and commercial applications. This page also has some highlights of this series. Some of them we have talked before was more. The inverter has a breeze light, so you can know the inverter's working status at a glance, and supports wide battery voltage from 135 to 750 volt, so very flexible when you do the system configuration. Okay, let's come to the appearance of the products. This is a front photo of the series. There are 3 indicators. Let's see it one by one. The first is power and alarm indicator. It shows the working status of the inverter. Second one is grid indicator. It shows the grid status. The third one is communication indicator to show the communication with the server or with the battery. This part is the multifunctional OLED display. No matter the basic parameters, then battery level and signal strength, you can all find it on the display. And this is the operation button, so you can check the display by operating this button. This page shows the different color of the indicators, shows the different status of the inverter's working. If the indicator is gray or off, means no AC output. If blue, means the inverter is in normal working. If in orange means low battery. If red means fault occurs. So you can know the inverter's working status very easily. This page shows the right side and dimensions of the inverter. On the up of the photo is a bank hanger, so when you do the installation, you hang the inverter on the fixed bracket. They are installation holders. They are very convenient when you do the installation and lifting the inverter. The inverter's nameplate, so you can find the serial number, check code, the key parameters, and the QR code for the monitoring on the nameplate. Here you will see the external grounding terminal. When you do the cable connection before DC and AC cable, you need to connect the external grounding terminals first. And this inverter, you can see, it just weighs for 27 kilograms, very light. 2 people is enough to hold it. This page shows the bottom of the inverter. From left to right is DC switch. It is optional. PV terminal for connecting solar panels. The battery terminal for connecting batteries. The COM1 port for connecting the communication modules such as Wi-Fi, LAN, and 4th generation. The COM2 port is multifunctional connector for connecting meter, battery, RS485, and DIED. There are 2 outputs. One is on-grid, another is backup. So this page has summarized our strengths in the appearance design. The inverter is plug-plane terminals connection. They are very convenient and time-saving on installation, and avoid the IP degree reduced in improper operation. Horizontal design leave more space on the bottom for wiring and maintenance. Also compared with vertical design, the L channel is shorter for quick heat dissipation. Aluminum A-line die casting shell, high outlook consistency, and good heat dissipation. Also 24 hours LED indicator. You can know the inverter's working status at a glance. The OLED multifunctional display offers a high flexible for you to check the data. The round edge structure very elegant and friendly to install and carry. It also has the customized side holders, very convenient during your installation. Also, the inverter is working in quiet operation, suitable for indoor use. And this page shows the internal components. So more than 80% of the components, we purchased it from the world leading brands in the last generation, so it can ensure the stable and long life working of the inverter. Okay, let's come to the third part, key parameters. Now, this page shows the parameters of the DC inputs. DC and AC ratio is 115%. Take the 4 kW inverter as an example. The max input power is 6 kW. So more PV power can connect it to supplying load consumption and battery charging at the same time. The startup voltage is 135. It is lower compared with the similar products, so the PV panel starts generation earlier and longer. The MPPT voltage range is 120 to 950. It can adapt to various PV configurations. We need to pay attention to this point. 950 volt is applicable just when there is no battery connection. So if you have connected the battery, the max MPPT voltage is 850 volt. The max input current is 15 ampere, so it allows 182 mm high power panels connection. They avoid the PV energy limited by the low input current. This series of inverter has 2 MPP trackers. You know the number, the brands, and orientation of PV strings which connected with the same MPP trackers should be same, so multi-MPPT can avoid the power loss caused by PV mismatch. This page shows the parameters of AC output. The inverter supports continuous 110% AC overloading. Take the 4 kW as an example. The maxed output power is 4.4. It can enable small power generation and allows up to 200% power importing from the grid to satisfy the big backup loads and battery fast charging. In the backup side, it also supports continuous 110% output overloading. and one of the three phases supports continuous 125% output overloading. Take the 6 kW inverter as an example. So one of the three phases, it can support 2 times 1.25, that is 2.5 kW. The on-off switching time is 10 milliseconds. It is UPS level, can provide the energy security for critical loads, and it supports up to 200% backup overloading for 60 seconds. So it can meet the needs of some loads, the high startup power, to enable the big loads connection on the backup side and ensuring the energy security in the places where the power outages frequently occurs. This series of inverters has finished the compatible test with many batteries such as Solinteg Dynast, Alpha, Vico, Sonic, and Solinteg batteries, and more brands are being tested for the compatibility. The battery range is very wide, from 135 to 750 volts, very flexible for you to do the capacity configuration. The max charging and discharging current is up to 14 ampere. It is fast charging and has a big discharging power to meet the big loads consumption. And the efficiency is industrial leading to maximize the system's generation. This page shows what the benefits that 15 ampere PV inputs can bring to customers. When you use the big current PV panels, the current is about 15 ampere. For some inverter, the PV input is 11 ampere or 12 ampere, so the big current of the PV panels will be limited by the inverter, thus will cause the power loss. But for Solinteg 15 ampere, it will let the current of the PV panels come into inverter smoothly. There will be no power loss. Enables more power generation. This page shows that if customer use the 210mm high power panels and the current is more than 15 ampere, we also have solution. For 10 to 12 kW-14, you just connect each MPPT with only one PV string. And for MHT 4 to 12 kW-25, you can use the Y connector to split one PV string into two to connect the inverter and turn on the MPPT paralleling on the inverter's display. This page shows the benefits of 40 ampere max charging and discharging current. We choose the mainstream residential battery Solinteg 4-1, 336 volts and 74 ampere hours. The charging and discharging current is 37. We compared Solinteg inverter with other three brands, Goodway, Sungrow, and Huawei, in two values: fully charging time and the discharging power. First, let's see the fully charging time. If you choose the Solinteg inverter 14 ampere, use the inverter to charge the Solinteg. We need to use the smaller one, 37. The charging current is 37. To fully charge to 74 hours, it is 2 hours. If you choose the Solinteg inverter 25 ampere, compared to the battery's charging current, we choose the smaller 25. Use the 25 ampere to charge to 74 hours. It is 3 hours, so it's good with 3 hours. If you choose the Sungrow 30 ampere, compared with the battery charging current 37, we use the smaller one, so use the 30 ampere, charge to 24 hours. It is 2.5 hours. If you choose Huawei, the same method, it is 4.6 hours. So we can see, compared to Goodway, we save 50% time. Compared to Huawei, we saved 130% time. Okay, now let's see the next value, the discharging power. So if you choose the Solinteg inverter 40 ampere, so when you're discharging, you know the power equals voltage times the current. So the current, we also choose the smaller one, 37 times the voltage 336 equals 12.4 kilowatt. And the same method, we got the 25 ampere, it is 8.4 kilowatt. So it's good way. 8.4 kilowatt. If you choose the sun glow and we use the 30 times battery system voltage 336, we got the 10.1 kilowatt. In the same method, we got Huawei 5.4 kilowatt. We can see it clearly. Solinteg 14 ampere has larger discharging power. That means it can support the larger loads on the backup side when there is no grid. This series has integrated more than 10 kinds of protections to ensure your electrical safety, including equipment, house loads, and people. Solinteg hybrid inverter has a function of fast stop. Fast stop means that you can stop the inverter's connection quickly, including the connection with AC side, solar panels, and battery, just with a press button. Without this function, if you want to stop an inverter, it might take you 1 or 3 minutes for you to turn off the AC switch, the DC switch with battery and with solar panels. But with this function, you can stop it quickly when an accident occurs and avoid the system damage being large, and it is safe when you do the maintenance. The inverter supports max 10 units paralleling with master slave controlling technology, which you can expand a hybrid system from 20 kW to 200 kW, suitable for residential and small commercial projects. This page shows the 110% phase unbalanced. There are 3 diagrams. One is without unbalanced output, second with 100% unbalanced output, the last with 110% unbalanced output. It is a little difficult, so let's see it one by one. The 3 diagrams all in the situation of we have enabled export limit, so the power can't export to the grid. We take hybrid inverter 12 kW as an example. They are 3-phase load. The L1 is 2 kW, L2 is 4 kW, L3 4.4 kW. If the inverter don't support unbalanced output, so that means the 3 phase they are same, and the inverters can't export to the grid. So inverter's output is decided on the smallest loads, 2 kW. So each phase output 2 kW. That caused the L1, it didn't need to purchase power from grid. For the L2, the load need 4 kW, but inverter only output 2 kW, so it need to import from grid 2 kW. The L3, the load needs 4.4 kW, but inverter can only output 2 kW. It need to import from grid 2.4 kW. That is inverter without unbalanced output. So let's see the same situation what the 100% unbalanced output will do. With 100% unbalanced output, so every phase the inverter can output 0 to 4 kW. For L1, the inverter can output 2 kW. For L2, it can output 4 kW. For L3, it outputs 4 kW. So also need to import from grid for 0.4 kW. So this situation, they need total by 0.4 kW from the grid. Now let's see the inverter with 110% unbalanced output, what they performed. The same situation, hybrid 12 kW. For each phase, they can output 0 to 4.4 kW. For L1, it can output 2 kW. For L2, it can output 4 kW. For L3, it can output 4.4 kW. So this system, they don't need to buy from grid. It can save your electricity costs. Inverters has excellent heat dissipation. The reasons are mainly in the following 3 parts. First is the major heat dissipation components, such as inductors, capacitors, and some other devices. We located them near the edge of the inverter shell or heat sink, which can directly dissipate the heat through the inverter's housing and heat sink. The second point is that the inverter is in horizontal design. They are compared in vertical design. The L heat channel is shorter, very good for the heat quickly dissipated. Last point is the inverter is made of aluminum inline die casting shell and aluminum heatsink, which can offer the high thermal conductivity. Now let's come to the fourth part, the work modes. First one is the general mode. In general mode, when the PV power is sufficient, the power from PV will first lead to supplying the loads, then the excess power to charge the battery, and any surplus power will be fed to the grid. When the PV power is insufficient to supply the loads, the battery will discharge power to fill the power gap, and the grid will join in if there is still not enough. This one is the peak load shifting. In some places, the utility will contract with you about the max power you can take from the grid. We call it Pmax. So when the power of the load doesn't access the Pmax, the PV power will charge the battery first, and the load is supplied by the grid. When the battery is full, the PV will supply the loads together with the grid while the battery doesn't. And when the power of the loads has accessed the Pmax, the inverter will take power from PV and battery to offset the gap power between the Pmax and the load. You can set the general mode on the app. The peak load shifting function is under the general mode, so if your country or your region has these regulations, you can enable this function. If not, you can leave it disabled. Just choose the general mode. This is the economic mode. This mode usually used in some places where the electricity prices have peak and valley. Customer can charge power from grid or PV in valley hours by setting on the app, and discharge the power in the peak loads by and set on the app to discharge the power in the peak loads. The battery will discharge power to supply loads and feed to grid. And set up to 6 charging and discharging periods in total in the app. This one is UPS mode, usually used in some places where the grid is frequently interrupted. So the power from PV will first lead to charge the battery until it is full, and loads will be supplied by the grid during the charging time. And battery will not discharge power as long as the grid is connected. When the grid fails, the PV power is insufficient to meet the load's consumption. The battery will take part in discharging power to supply loads connected in the backup port. The last one is off-grid mode. It is usually used in some places where there is no grid for a long time. So power from PV will supply the backup loads first and then charge the battery if there is any surplus power. When the power from PV isn't enough, the battery will discharge to supply the backup loads together with PV. You can also set it on the app. We have the energy management platform. This is the web monitoring. You can access to this website to create and monitoring your plants and devices. This is the portable version for Solinteg Cloud. You can install this app. You can scan the QR code and install the app in your cell phone, so you can monitor your plants in anywhere and anytime. And Solinteg Set app is just for hybrid configuration. When you are besides of the inverter, you connect the cell phone with the inverter's Wi-Fi, so you can check the data and do some basic configurations, including the safety code, the battery brands, and work modes. Okay, let's come to the next part, application scenarios. For new installations, you just need a hybrid inverter with one smart meter with the matching CT. But for the existing installation, that means if you already have an on-grid system, you want to extend it into a energy storage system, you can buy a hybrid inverter and connect the AC together. So in this situation, you need to use 2 smart meters matching CT. One is for monitoring the hybrid inverter, the other is for monitoring the on-grid system. For more application scenarios, you can contact Solinteg technicians. Okay, let's come to the last part, compatible batteries. We have listed part of the batteries that are compatible with our inverters. Like I have said before, we are always doing the compatible test with many other brands. If you have the needs, you can contact us. Thanks for your listening.